Ian, tonight we are going to be talking about the Invisible Man. Ian? Oh, I get it. He's dead from corona. AJ, we are here today, whatever. Can't tell anymore because there's so much quarantining going on around here.
Right?
To talk about a little movie that just came out that was supposed to be in theaters for a while, but because of everything, they put it out on VOD.
Yeah.
And that movie is...
The Invisible Man!
The Invisible Man! Yes. Which I gotta say, beyond it being Leigh Whannell's project, who I've grown fond of because of his last movie, Upgrade, which is a badass movie.
Yeah, Upgrade wasn't bad.
Yeah. I was about 1% interested in this movie because I'm not too keen on like the Invisible Man, although I may have been ruined because Kevin Bacon made Hollow Man, and I don't remember if that's a good movie or not, but I remember enjoying it.
It's entertaining.
It's something, I think.
You know what my big thing was about that? I was really hoping when you finally see him at the end of the movie, it would be Bacon.
Oh man, that would have been sweet.
That'd be the best cameo ever.
Yeah, he'd be like, "I'm back, bitches."
That's what I was hoping. It's like that would be because they don't really show his character much until the end. You don't really see him completely.
Well, I didn't realize that the main bad guy in this movie was the singer from Maroon 5, Adam Levine, because that's. No, it's not. That's exactly what he looks like.
He looks very snake-like. I guess that makes sense.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, Invisible Man is a modern take on the story, and I don't know what the original storyline is. I don't think I've ever seen the original movie.
The original. It's been a long time since I've seen like black and white version.
Right. But this is a modernized version in which it deals with a woman trapped in an abusive relationship who escapes, and it turns out the person she escapes from is a tech entrepreneur who has and somehow is able to become the Invisible Man, which is revealed later in the movie. And we'll get to spoilers because I feel like there's a lot to talk about with this movie.
The first thing I'd like to talk about, in just regards to the whole premise and everything, is the setup is so nice because it's from the perspective of our actress. Like 90% of the movie is. So you're kind of going along with the actress and everyone else within the movie on like, do we really believe her? Because you only get her perspective.
Well, I gotta say, I always believed her, but it makes you empathetic to that of an abused person in a way. Like, obviously everyone is, but it's like such a psychological, like, isolating thing that these people and this woman has gone through, which is portrayed very well in this movie because you're constantly like, can't you guys just see? You just walk in now. You need to see this, and you're always like, and they never do, and it's always like this gut punch because she's like,
it's a good movie.
Nobody believes me. It's a good contemporary take on that because it covers subject matter that is now becoming a bit more in the mainstream, more comfortable. People are more willing to talk about it. It was just kind of pushed under the rug before. So I liked that about it. And I thought the opening was incredibly well done because it doesn't tell you anything about the guy in the bed. It doesn't show you him beating her or abusing her, but it's all her performance and her movements and that stuff that makes you already be like, this is a bad dude. I don't know what he did, but he's clearly not a good guy, and they're selling me on that right away.
Yeah, and I think one of the most successful tactics with this movie is the music setting that tone. And the long shots where we pan and stop on frames almost for like uncomfortable amounts of time, makes you uncomfortable and then makes you more stressed to be within her situation.
Agreed. I mean, it's a really smart way. Based on like Upgrade and this, now I can see like Leigh Whannell is very visual in his storytelling, which obviously all directors are at some point, but he like is very careful about the shots because I think it's really cool idea because he's an invisible man. You'll never see him when he's invisible, so to linger on these shots that are wide and sometimes slowly panning, it's like I know they're showing me something. It could be anywhere. He's anywhere in here, and it just makes me more and more uncomfortable the whole time.
Yeah, and that uncomfortable level that they set is like the most successful thing this movie does. It makes you feel her character being uncomfortable. And they always do this great thing where she's always knows where he is in the room. She can feel his eyes on her, and she's always looking in these empty spaces. And I think that just like cements that even more so.
Yeah, Elizabeth Moss is, she's really good at portraying this character. Obviously, she plays, similar characters in like A Handmaid's Tale and stuff.
Yeah, we were talking about that. She kind of picks these. I wonder if she picks these roles. I mean, she's very good at them, but there always seem to be like these women in abusive or bad situations.
Yeah, I don't know. But her portrayal is good. She doesn't come off. I wouldn't say she's like a weak person, but she does play that role of like somebody you could see being a pushover. Yeah. And so for her to have an arc where she empowers herself is obviously like what the movie is calling for and needs, but she pulls it off really well.
Yeah, she does. She does.
I love the camera work in the movie. I love the tension. This movie to me felt like an indie movie, but kind of pushing the like general audience, kind of meshing together of an indie movie and like a generic-y horror movie.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I guess that's a good way to put it. It does blend like the two worlds together pretty well, and gets a good message across, frankly. Within that.
It's not all good for me though.
Really?
Here. Yeah. So like, and we'll get to some spoilers, but I don't think the only thing invisible in this movie is the man. I think perhaps there's some plot holes that are. No, I didn't say that right, but you know what I'm saying. There is some plot things that are problematic with me in this movie.
Sure,
it starts to, well, you have to suspend your belief a whole lot, and it starts to compound in ways that it starts to take away the movie for me. It's like, why did the character do this, or why didn't they do this, or how is he getting away with this, and blah blah blah, and it's just like too much by the end for me.
Yeah, it's too much like a melodrama kind of building.
Well, it just starts to become too unbelievable. I don't know.
It didn't bother me so much. I was kind of on it.
I was very compelled throughout this movie until you get to the climactic moment, and then the movie goes on for about another 15 minutes, and I have major problems with the ending of this movie.
Okay.
So I started really high. I think the opening is great. It was building, and it was kind of slow paced for a while, which is pretty weird for like a mainstream-ish horror movie in the theaters. I thought it might be too slow for some people. But then it does ramp up in a very climactic moment and sequence that's pretty fun. And then the ending of this movie did not work.
You did not like the ending, huh?
I did not like the ending.
Yeah, was it too much of like on the nose for you?
Well, we can get to it.
I think this was like a massive step up, honestly, from Upgrade, from his last movie. Like, I enjoyed Upgrade, but Upgrade had a lot of suspension of disbelief and a lot of just, like, fun action-y kind of things, and that was part of the lure of it. But I felt like this was a lot more mature of a subject for him to handle, and I think it was, like, a good step in a upward direction, frankly.
Yeah, I think the subject matter is more mature. I would argue Upgrade is more of a sci-fi action movie, and so suspension of disbelief or belief is warranted for something like that. You can write off most of it because it's so far into the future.
Sure, and it's more. I just feel like Upgrade's more fun. I don't know. I didn't take it as
it's intended to be more fun. Yeah. This is more psychological horror and tension. It's
more serious,
which is well done. So let's get into some spoilers. The problem I have with this movie is there's a fine line for me between like justice and revenge, and I completely feel for this character who definitely deserves justice for the abuse she's taken and the stuff this guy has done to her. But the end of the movie makes it more like revenge. She straight up murders the guy.
Yeah.
And it's not entirely surprising because they hint at it earlier, but it's not only that she murders him, is that she also like includes this friend cop it's like such a morally gray subject, and he is sworn to his duty, and she didn't even ask or anything. She just put him into the shit, and he has to sit there and think about this. Like, he knows she just straight up murdered him.
Yeah.
He knows he's a bad guy, but like that's not. I don't know. To me that's not like the. It's empowering in some ways. Like, yeah, she fucking got her. He got his comeuppance. She killed him. But it's too out there for me, because it's not like somebody who has grief and stuff like that. I don't think you just killing somebody doesn't just make everything better. And by the end, she's like walking away smiling, and I'm like, I don't know if it works like that.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't think that's how the film was going to end. I thought it was going to be more of like a trickery kind of ruse. You know, like they would get him to confess in some form or another. Like I honestly didn't think it was going to turn to a revenge scenario. But yeah, I could see why you would have a problem with that, sure. And honestly, I kept expecting there to be more. One of the big things that they lead to very early on, when she's leaving the house and she goes down the stairs, she sees 4 suits.
4 suits, yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh, obviously there's going to be more characters that are going to be messing with this, and there's going to be more kind. So I kept waiting for that to come back around, and it did slightly, but not quite how I thought it might have.
Yeah.
You know,
that whole like action sequence at like 3/4 of the way into the movie. Well, it's like an hour and a half into the movie where, you know, she's escaping this hospital and there's cops getting killed by the Invisible Man and there's all this shit going on. Yeah. And there's a car chase kind of thing and you're rushing and it's all very climactic, and then it leads to her killing the guy and he's dead and it was revealed it's his brother or whatever.
Yeah.
That was like my energies were riding high, and that felt like the climax of the movie.
Yeah.
And then for the movie to go on for 20 more minutes and like get the actual bad guys ending, it felt so much less like climactic to me. It just felt anticlimactic. It was just like all the energy from the movie for me at that point was kind of taken away.
Okay.
And I don't know. I don't know what you could have done. I don't know if the twist really worked for me in a way. Like
I mean, I was okay with it. I don't know. I understand your frustration with that. I do. I think obviously we got the point across of him being a psychopath, and especially the way he manipulates his brother into the situation, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I could have seen more manipulation of other people, because not only does he have this invisible suit, but one of his like things is he's able to manipulate everybody. And maybe if he's able to do more of that as well with other characters in her life, I think that could have like somehow been interjected for a more interesting ending. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so where he doesn't just murder people, he manipulates the people around him. And he kind of did that by like sending an email to his sister.
Yeah, I think he could have done more of that kind of stuff. I like how long they waited to even like hint at him. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think it could even gone a little farther. Because it just drives home the more crazy her character seems to everybody. You know what I mean? Like she's losing it more kind of scenario.
I get that, except for the fact that the movie's called The Invisible Man, so you already know she's not crazy. You know what I mean? So it's like,
what if he isn't at all? That's
see,
the twist.
I mean, that's something, but like, we know he's the Invisible Man. We know she's not crazy. We know he's stalking her. So the whole time it's like, come on, get there. Everybody needs to realize, like, so it's like.
You know what I did like a lot? When they, early on when they're at the hospital, they brought out the actual Invisible Man, like the classic looking one on the gurney. That was a nice
He's
little
all wrapped,
nod.
yeah, I saw it.
Like that was fun. I'm glad they made like nods like that.
This definitely is, to me, like a more cerebral movie than you get from a mainstream horror movie. And it's also like 2-hour running time, so it's like not conventional for like a Friday night theater kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then they also, like you said, they underplay the Invisible Man quite a bit. Like, we're talking about Hollow Man. Once he becomes invisible, he is like fucking invisible all the time. Remember, he's like spying on people. Yeah. He's doing all kinds of shit. Like, and that's kind of what that movie is. It's the spectacle of it. And this doesn't focus on the spectacle of it.
No.
But honestly, I could have used a little more spectacle. Like, I could have used a little more Invisible Man action. I don't know.
That's cool. I mean, I liked the perspective. I think it was a nice, fresh take on like, you know, the Invisible Man, what are you gonna get? You know, the Invisible Man. But this is a nice flip on the perspective, and I kind of,
you're right.
I enjoy that freshness. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it definitely feels fresh, and it doesn't. Yeah, you're right. You know, because it's not
easy just
what
to
you're
make
quite
the
expecting.
Man,
Yeah,
you know,
you're right.
And make it a Hollywood thing. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and I would say make Hollow Man 2, but I think they already did.
I think they did.
That's
my only disappointment. We didn't see Kevin Bacon at the end of the movie when they finally reveal him. I was like, what? No Bacon? Come on.
Yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed it. I feel like I was riding high for about half of the movie, and it just, then from then on, I just started going down and down and down.
Interesting.
And the end just left me unsatisfied.
I was pretty satisfied with it. I didn't have any qualms. I was actually like surprised with how good this was, frankly, compared to Upgrade. Like I liked Upgrade and it was enjoyable, but this was way more competent, I think, than Upgrade.
I don't know. Upgrade was more visually entertaining and like. I think the questions asked in Upgrade were pretty interesting, and I thought the twist at the end was surprising. I don't know. We talk about like the serious nature of this movie and like the psychological abuse, but then at the end when she just murders him, it's so easy. But that whole thing you're talking about is not easy, and that's like the movie The Nightingale. I don't know if you've seen that, but she gets raped and she gets abused and her family gets killed. And she murders somebody because they were guilty part of this thing, but it doesn't give her the reprieve or the release or the freedom or the feeling. It doesn't go away. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it
that
doesn't
satisfy
satisfy that.
Ending with this, like maybe she wasn't satisfied by killing him, and maybe she like doubts herself.
Yeah,
I'm curious. I almost guarantee you, there's probably different endings to this film that they shot.
We need the 3.5-hour bacon cut.
We should make a version of this movie. We just cut bacon in and replace the
Invisible
other guy.
Man versus Hollow Man. That's what I want to say.
That'd be cool. We should replace the other actor with bacon every scene.
Yeah, wasn't Hollow Man? He was like injected or something, right?
Yeah, he was injected, and then instantly he goes crazy from that, which is like a whole other thing.
He just unleashed the inner bacon, I think. What you do? Yeah, no, I'm excited. Like Leigh Whannell's track record has been like. He helped write the Saw series and a lot of acting, which
he did a lot of writing
acting
too.
Insidious and stuff like that. But acting and writing, well, acting at least is definitely he should forgo that because he's a way better director and writer. I think I'm interested
this is very
in seeing.
Impressive. Like I didn't expect to enjoy this or even expect this to be as good as it was. Frankly, I just kind of going into it like, okay, let's see what we can do in a remake of like Hollow Man. You know, I expected it very much to be like, for instance, the Wolfman that came out a number of years ago. It's just kind of like, you know, but this was like, there was some content in it, which is nice.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like
there's some thought and passion put into this. Yeah. He wasn't trying to just make a mindlessly jump scare movie. Because even, it wasn't there was a scene or two of jump scares, but for most of the movie, it was like the tension of not knowing where he is and the uncertainty and the isolation.
That was the most successful thing, I think. When you get those long shots and it pans, it just sits.
So I would definitely say you need to check it out.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. This was probably one of my more favorite genre movies of recent, frankly.
The plot holes in this movie certainly weren't invisible. That's what I meant to say. God damn it. I think that's it. That's going to do it for Hollow Man. Oh, shit. I mean, Invisible Man. Oh, shit. That's going to do it for Invisible Man. We will catch you here next time on Bad Movie Night. Thank you for joining me, AJ.
Yeah, it was fun. Thanks for having me.
It was fun. We'll see you guys later. Goodbye.